Story is always brought to you by Vodafone. The NDC is tonight rallying civil society and religious leaders to protest against President Akufo-Addo's new appointments to the Electoral Commission after it emerged at least one of them is a known NPP activist. Electra with the University of Energy and Natural Resources, Dr. Peter Apiahene, the Director of Programs with the Anglican Diocese of Accra, Reverend Ekoa Ofori Boateng, and Salima Ahmed Tijani were sworn in yesterday as appointees of the Electoral Commission. Today, NDC party stalwarts are questioning the neutrality of the appointments. Listen to MP for Guan constituency, Kofi Adams.
Some commissioners, even though it was their right to vote in the past, elect not to even vote. Even their political persuasion was really never known. And if they had voted, it would have been so difficult to even predict who they were voting for in order to show the level of being fair to all. Dr. Kofi, for example, stayed away from voting in all elections that he is pretendent over. Today, we are not only appointing persons that people will question either their qualification, their understanding, but we are also appointing party apparatchiks, which is wrong. I thought the president would have learned some lessons after bringing in the Dr. Bosmes and the rest, but that's not the case. As a party and as a member of parliament and as a citizen of this country, we are all going to watch this closely and monitor the actions and inactions of some of these officers that have been sworn in. Whatever appropriate actions that we will take it in order that our democracy is not destroyed beyond what has happened. That the sanctity of our votes shall be respected, and that no individual will do anything to undermine that process. And so if it is the plan that they break the eight that they are talking about, this is part of the scheme of things to pack the Electoral Commission, which will be independent of party apparatchiks. Then they should revise their notes.
Well, Ms. Adams says the president is deliberately packing the Electoral Commission with known activists and is now rallying civil society, media, and religious leaders to fight off what he believes to be a deliberate partisan politicization of the Electoral Commission.
We must all be concerned. As journalists, you must be concerned. As religious leaders, we must be concerned. Civil society must be concerned. There are some institutions that are the independent, and right from commencement of this very fourth republic, all presidents have had so hard to keep institutions as much as possible on partisanship. But this current president have decided to desecrate all these independent institutions, including the Electoral Commission, and have arranged back its known faces, known activists of New Patriotic Party. Dr. Bosman was one of them, and we all saw after his appointment comments he made to suggest that the NDC was a threat to democracy. This is the first time we have heard a commissioner, for that matter, a deputy chair of Electoral Commission, make such a comment. This was so because of his party. Maybe individually, they may not have the requisite qualification, but their partisan association should bar them from occupying such sensitive position as commission.
I want to bring in presidential correspondent Nelson Broby, who was there yesterday when the president swore in the commissioners, the new commissioners, 3 of them to be very specific. And Elton is joining me on the telephone line right now with more. Elton, we just heard Kofi-Addo's complaints, and we know that this has come to the attention of the NDC. As of tonight, when we checked, we know the NDC has called a meeting on this. But the 3 appointees sworn in yesterday, you've heard the NDC's complaints as expressed by Kofi-Addo. Who are they, and why are they so worried about them?
So, Evans, so the 3, I mean, if you want to look at it from the point of appointment, you can conclude that since President Akufo-Addo took office in 2017, this would be perhaps the 6th appointment to the Electoral Commission as commissioners. So currently you have 7 commissioners. Only 1 was not appointed by President Akufo-Addo. All other 6, including the chairperson, Dr. Bosman, and the 3 that took their oath of office yesterday, all of them appointed by President Akufo-Addo. So the 3 includes Dr. Peter Apiahene, Reverend Akua-Boateng, and of course Halima Tijani Ahmed. The concern here, especially from what we are privy to, what we've been reading since morning when the news broke, most of it relates to Dr. Peter Apiahene, and from what we've checked, he is an IT consultant. He's a lecturer at the Department of Computer Science and Informatics, the University of Energy and Natural Resources in Sunyani, the capital of the Bono region. But of concern to a lot of people is whether or not the allegation that he is a patron of TESCOM, the University of Energy and Natural Resources, holds water. Indeed, since morning, we have become aware, whether true or not, there's a poster flying around after the 2020 election. There was speculation about who was going to be named as the Bono Regional Minister. And this poster, as we have it, if you look at it carefully, it includes the name and picture of Dr. Apiahene as somebody who was being considered for the position of regional minister. So that then feeds into the narrative that he is indeed a member of the ruling New Patriotic Party. But he has yet to, speak publicly to deny or accept the tag that is on him right now. So that has been a concern for some political watchers. The other person...
And Elton, even on Mr. Apiahene, subsequently we ran additional checks. And it is emerged that he was also a TESCON patron at the University of Education, Winneba. And we know TESCON, it's the student wing of the NPP. And there's a strong link also that, many who were very close to him have established. His uncle was an NPP government appointee as a DCE. And that has also come out very strongly. But it is mainly the concerns around his very known staunch commitment as an activist at the TESCON level, as a patron at the University of Education, Winneba, that those who knew him then in the Bono region and in school, and if you're affiliated with the NDC, have raised as one of the key concerns that they are now flagging, for which reason they are asking civil society and others to join. But you've picked up more about the other 2.
So Evan, so the other person who's also become a subject of concern is Reverend Akua-Boateng. And this person, we've been digging to know more about her. What we came across is that she's the director of programs for the Anglican Diocese of Accra. In fact, she's a Reverend minister. Apart from that, interestingly, she is a member of the United States Advisory Committee on Africa, and that's what she served on the 2020 Eminent Advisory Committee of the Electoral Commission. Interesting. Before the 2020 election, he was appointed to serve as member of the Advisory Committee of the Electoral Commission. If you check her CV and her educational background, very solid person. She had most of her degrees from bachelor's to master's to PhD in the United States of America. She's expert in energy and other related fields. And people are also questioning. We know that she hosts a religious program on Asase Radio every morning from Monday to Sunday, as we have been told. So these are some of the things that is getting people to raise concerns about the neutrality of some of these individuals. The other person, we are told again, it is very unclear who this person No information whatsoever about her as of now.
Now, Elton, yesterday, the president said something that many are beginning to read a lot of meanings into it, about whether or not it mattered who the commissioners are and who actually collates and counts the votes. What did he say about this?
In fact, the president was very clear. Election, according to him, or the outcome of any election should not be determined by those who collate, those who count, and those who declare. But for him, those who vote are the ones who should determine the outcome of every election. And for that reason, if you want to read into it, then he's essentially saying that those who are appointed to supervise our election would not have any influence over the outcome of any election. We can listen to him.
In emphasizing the importance and credibility of elections, it must be pointed out that the count, the collation, the declaration of results cannot and should not be more important than the sacred God-given right of a citizen casting his or her ballot. I have said it before and I will repeat it. Elections are about those who cast the vote, not those who count, not those who supervise, not those who transmit, and not those who declare. The heart of the democratic process is giving effect to the choices made by those who cast the vote.
Elton, what about the integrity of these three appointees? Did the president vouch for them?
Absolutely. He was 100% certain that these are people with proven integrity and competence to do the work that they've been assigned to do. But also was quick to point out to them that they will have no honeymoon because every decision, every step they will take will be scrutinized by political watchers. As far as he is concerned, he was convinced. In fact, he made reference to the fact that these appointments were, sent to the Council of State. The Council of State advised positively of it. That's the reason why he undertook that constitutional, requirement of him.
The three persons I have sworn in a few moments ago as members of the Electoral Commission are persons I am confident will bring integrity, professionalism, and independence and fairness of mind to the discharge of their duties. Article 46 of the Constitution demands that in the performance of its functions, the Electoral Commission will not be, quote, subject to the direction or control of any person or authority. It answers only to the Ghanaian people, the Constitution of the Republic, and its own conscience. As you begin work, you will find no honeymoon period. Neither will you be afforded the chance to settle into your new responsibilities. I have nevertheless confidence in you and in your abilities to surmount the hurdles before you. Remember that now, more than ever, every single decision you take will be scrutinized to the letter. That, however, should not scare you, and indeed, let no one try to cower you into submission.
And Elton, I wonder, from the appointees themselves, what do they have to say for themselves?
They appear to be very ready for the job ahead. In fact, Dr. Peter Apiahine, who spoke on behalf of the three commissioners, said that they are aware of the sensitive nature of the office that they will be occupying. They are very much aware also of the emotional attachment people, give to election-related matters in the country. And for that reason, they will be neutral, they will be fair, they will be just in the discharge of their duties.
Elton, thank you very much. And we'll hear from the NDC and NPP pretty shortly on this controversy that has erupted on the back of the confirmation and the swearing in yesterday of these three appointees. But I want to bring in first the Center for Democratic Development. And they've been very instrumental in the CODEO initiative, the Coalition of Domestic Election Observers initiative. I want to bring in the programs manager at CDD, Mr. Paul Abrampa, joins us on the telephone line right now. Mr. Abrampa, thank you for your time here on Top Story.
Good evening. Thank you to you, Miles.
You've heard the NDC's concerns. Now that we know, at least one of the appointees used to be a former TESCON patron at the University of Education, Winneba, and has been a known activist in the NPP. They raise a lot of concerns about how it affects the neutrality of the commission itself and then cast a shadow on the integrity of elections. What's your reaction to the NDC's concerns tonight?
Yes, good evening again, Evans. And in fact, I'm not surprised at all that these reactions are coming. I've spoken to you several times on the position and mandate of the Electoral Commission. It demands total neutrality to build confidence. I always say that commission members, whether the commissioners or the commission members, have two forms of authority. The first authority is demand from the Constitution, that the president is mandated by the Constitution 43(1) and Article 71 to appoint Ghanaians of the defined qualification with the advice.
We've lost him. We'll get him back on the line for him to give us his thoughts on this. Plus, also hear from him regarding the president's pronouncements tonight. But I want to bring in the NDC's National Communications Officer, Sammy Jemfi, who is on the line with us. Do we have Sammy Jemfi on the line with us? Okay, we don't have him on the line. We'll get him back, and then we'll get to hear from the NPP as well on this controversy that has come up. Mr. Brampa is on. Mr. Brampa, we lost you briefly. You were making your point.
Yes. Sorry, the line went. Yes. So as I was saying, there are two forms of authority, and the one is constitutional. The president is mandated by Article 71 to appoint qualified Ghanaians to the position. The second one is an authority that is earned, and it starts from who the person being appointed is. So it's the work of the Electoral Commission is just like a referee. It depends on trust, confidence, and integrity. The moment somebody starts from a wrong footing of being suspected to be affiliated to a known political party, the trust levels start going down. So that's the aspect that we have to look at it from. Otherwise, there's no limitation per the Constitution that forbids the president to appoint particular set of people or do not appoint people from particular institutions. But the moral aspect and the trust aspect being the bedrock of the work and the mandate of the Electoral Commission demands that we get people who are of absolute neutrality to occupy the position, to reduce the perception and the window that will be created for accusations. So that's the background at which we have to look at from. You remember in the appointment of Ms. Evans Mensah, we said that even though it's not constitutional, that the president do enough consultation to get somebody who has acceptability across board. But it is good that we have that consensus built so as to start at a footing that we put in place people who have total acceptability across board. So that's the basis at which we come from.
So on the basis of that,
the work of the commission, it says that we need to reduce all windows for accusations and criticisms.
On the basis of what you've just said there, do you then agree that the appointment of Mr. Chiahene with his known background and activism in the NPP should never happened?
I agree, and even go ahead to suggest that the appointment should be looked at again. And
in other words, you're asking that it should be withdrawn?
How the advice from the Council of State to the President, because the Article 71 says that the President does the appointment in consultation and advice of the Council of State. I don't know what kind of background checks that the Council made before giving the advice, knowing that some of these things can generate into conflicts and it starts on the wrong footing. So I recommend, I guess not just agree with people who have some reservations. I go ahead to recommend that the appointment be looked at again.
Bottom line, you want it withdrawn?
If I were Mr. Apia, what was the name?
Mr. Apia.
Yes, I will myself even ask to be excused to accept the position.
Please stay with me, Mr. Brampa. Let's get the thoughts of the NDC right now. National Communications Officer Sammy Jemfi. Mr. Jemfi, what does the party plan to do about this?
Well, first of all, let me say that as a party, we are totally disgusted by the continuous bastardization of independent constitutional bodies like the Electoral Commission by President Akufo-Addo. We all know that the Electoral Commission is an independent constitutional body. It is supposed to be neutral. And so when you have the president appointing known NPP apparatchiks, known NPP activists into the very, highest positions in the commission, that amounts to bastardization of a once revered, state institution. The Electoral Commission now has become an annex or a wing of the ruling New Patriotic Party, and that for us is totally unacceptable. We condemn these latest appointments in no uncertain terms, and we want to join, forces with civil society and other well-meaning Ghanaians to, push for the necessary reforms in the composition of our once revered electoral body. You recall that Dr. Bosman Asare had similar issues. He was a known patron of the NPP's intellectual wing at University of Ghana, TESCOM. We have this Dr. Peter Apiahene, who is also a known NPP TESCOM patron and communicator in the Bono region. And then you have the Reverend Ekia Ofori-Boateng, who is an employee of Gabi Ocheredakon, cousin of President Akufo-Addo. Okay, so all the appointments the president has made are totally unacceptable and actually destroys the little credibility that the Electoral Commission has now. So we are all appalled.
But are you doing
we
something?
We are not appointing authorities, so
yes,
there isn't much.
But are you doing something specifically
legally
on this?
But we will continue to protest. That we are entitled to as citizens of this country and as a political party. We'll continue to protest. We'll continue to raise these issues of political interference in the composition and operations of the Electoral Commission by the ruling NPP, particularly President Akufo-Addo. That we shall continue to do.
Nana Boakye is the national organizer of the NPP, joins us on the line right now. Mr. Boakye, thanks for your time here on Top Story.
Oh, thank you very much, Evans. How are you, my brother?
I am doing great. So we've now learned that one of the appointees sworn in yesterday to the Electoral Commission is a known TESCON patron, an activist of the party. We've had civil society already say that appointment should be looked at again. In other words, withdrawn. NDC obviously is protesting clearly for the integrity of the Electoral Commission, for the process of elections itself, not only to come across as free and fair, but to be seen to be. Isn't it in your own interest to back these calls, and do you back them?
Evans, thank you very much for having me. First of all, His Excellency the President has executed his mandate in the Constitution. I have gone through the Constitution. To be a commissioner of the Electoral Commission, you must have same qualification as if you were contesting to be a member of Parliament. And I think that clearly I've listened to some of the people who are raising these red flags, and I've not seen anybody raise issues of illegality, unconstitutionality. I think it's just the same old, shouts from the rooftop anytime these appointments are made. I recall that when Dr. Bosman was appointed, similar shouts, came from the opposition. It appears that it's the same chorus they are following. So for me, is the appointment in line with the 1992 Constitution? Yes or no? Yes. Is it the case that the person who's been appointed, is the person's qualification the same as though he's contesting to be a member of Parliament? Yes. So I think that people rather should be putting out argument of illegality or unconstitutionality rather than shouting all of these. So for me, I
on
don't
the
see anything wrong
constitutional
with
question,
it.
though, you
And
raised on the constitutional
I
question.
cannot in any way confirm whether the person is a TESCOM patron or not. I don't know. I remember that when Dr. Bosman was appointed, he said that he was a TESCOM patron on Legon campus. And at that time, I was a national youth organizer, and I said that I do not know Dr. Bosman to be a patron of the New Patriotic Party. No. So it's the same shout.
But Mr. Boache, on the constitutional,
I think what is important is
you think that the constitutional on the constitutional question, the Constitution says when it comes to the EC, it has to be independent. Then you have an individual who is a patron of the TESCON.
Are you able to confirm that he's a patron of TESCON?
University
I don't
of
know about that.
About campus. But
that is why.
But that's the question. I'm just asking the question on
Sorry?
the constitutionality. If that is proving, as many multiple sources have said it is, doesn't that bring the neutrality?
Multiple sources like what, Evans? I think that let's situate our conversation.
The substantive question
within some space of
Mr. Boache, the substantive question.
Evidence.
If you
sources like from where?
Let me ask the substantive question. Doesn't that then question the neutrality issues and the independence that the Constitution itself that you recite actually points to and demands?
I don't think so. You know what? In fact, I recall that when I was even reading constitutional law, there were arguments made that since the Constitution allows His Excellency the President to appoint these personalities onto commissions or committees or boards, that means that the neutrality of these personalities will be compromised. Why? Because the appointor is His Excellency the President. So, by the mere fact that His Excellency the President appoints this person means that the person's neutrality is compromised. I mean, I've heard some of these arguments. So, but the Constitution gives the President the mandate. The drafters of the Constitution gave the President that mandate to appoint, unless an amendment takes place and such mandate is taken away from His Excellency the President. But presidents from 1992 have had this mandate of appointing commissioners. So I don't think this is the first time. So that is why I'm saying that I'm looking at it from that point of view, that if anybody should question the neutrality of these personalities, then it means the president should not even appoint at all, because anybody at all can make that inference that once the president is appointing, then there's that element of the neutrality of that person being compromised. But that is not it. It is the Constitution. The Constitution says that the president has the mandate to appoint.
Let me bring in Mr. Brampa with the CDD. Mr. Brampa, Mr. Boache has a point, does he not? That if you look at the constitutional dictates when it comes to the qualification to become a commissioner, these three individuals meet all the requirements, the constitutional requirements.
Absolutely so. I did mention that the president per the Constitution is not limited as to which particular person he could appoint if the person meets all the qualifications as set out in the Constitution, being a sound person, beyond 18 years, and all those things. But in a position such as the Electoral Commission, the referee of very important and sensitive process in the country as far as democracy is concerned, we need to go beyond certain limits in the Constitution. So if indeed, why do people in public services have to resign if they want to contest in elections, in particular in the name of political parties? Because the belief is that they cannot perform their duties and support the policies of the party they do not support. So just by that suspicion, the ethics is that they resign their positions before they go contest. Similarly, it's the same thing. Even in ordinary football matches, teams do protest against referees they suspect to be biased. So if indeed somebody has openly and publicly affiliated himself to a particular political party, it behoves on the person. To me, if I were the person, I'll resign myself. Because when you accept this position, the pressure is going to be on you perpetually until you retire. And that is not going to help him in the discharge of his duties. You know the way politics play out in this country. So some of these things must go beyond constitutional limits.
The president said something, though, when he swore them in. he said elections are not about the individuals on the commission. It is about the voter and the ballot that he casts. It's not about the person who will count or the person who will tally or collate. Do you agree with him?
But, Evans, we've gone to court twice as in the history of the Fourth Republic as far as elections are concerned. Go and read the statements that are taken to court. The first one is biases and sometimes purported manipulations by the people at the commission. So this goes beyond just admonishing people to be upright. It's actually the practice. And as I said, as far as elections are concerned, as far as commissions are concerned, we have two forms of authority. The constitutional mandates and authority that is bestowed to the individual, to the commission by the president, and the moral one that is earned, and it starts from who the person being appointed is. So we need to go beyond the constitutional limit and admonition, and we need to see to it that people appointed to such positions as referees are people who have general acceptability, but the parties, actually the key parties in the contest. So please, I insist that we need to go beyond constitutional limits as spelled out in the Constitution.
Mr. Brumper, Paula Brumper is with the Center for Democratic Development. Thank you very much. Sami Jemfi is the National Communications Officer with the NDC. I'm grateful. And you heard earlier Nana Boakye, who is the national organizer of the NPP there. Where do you stand on this? I want to hear from you. 055-1111-997 here on Newsnight. NDC